There is a specific kind of cold that has nothing to do with the weather. It is a coldness that settles in the chest, usually late at night when the noise of the day has faded and the distractions have run out. It is the quiet ache of being alone. We are social creatures. We crave warmth. We crave the feeling of being understood, of being held, of being known. We spend our lives chasing this warmth, building our lives around the hope of connection. And yet, the moment we get close to it, we flinch, we pull back, we sabotage, we build walls, we say things we do not mean, or we go silent when we should speak. This is the great paradox of the human condition. We are desperate to be close to others, yet we are terrified of the proximity. We freeze in isolation, but we bleed in intimacy. Most people think this is a personal failing. They think they are bad at relationships or that they are broken. But this is not a glitch in your personality. This is a fundamental law of nature. It is a negotiation between safety and suffering that every living soul must make. Today, we are going to look at why you feel this tug of war in your soul. And we are going to learn how to stand in the middle without freezing and without getting hurt. Let's look at your life right now. You probably see this struggle, this push and pull, manifesting in ways you haven't fully acknowledged. Consider the first scenario, the phantom text message. You're sitting on your couch, the room is dim, the blue light of your smartphone is the only illumination. You're thinking about someone, a friend you haven't seen in months, a romantic partner you had a fight with, a parent you've drifted away from. You type out a message, you pour a little bit of your truth into the glowing screen. You are reaching out for warmth, but then your thumb hovers over the send button. A physical sensation washes over you. It is a tightening in the throat, a sudden spike in heart rate. A voice whispers, "What if they don't reply? What if I look desperate? What if they reject me?" The fear of the quill, the sharp sting of rejection, overpowers the coldness of your loneliness. So you delete the text, you lock the phone, you choose the cold because the cold is safe. Consider the second scenario, the crowded room. You are at a social gathering. There is music, laughter, the clinking of glass. On the surface, you are connected. You're surrounded by people, but you feel an invisible sheet of glass between you and everyone else. You engage in small talk. You ask about the weather or work or the news. You keep the conversation on the surface. Why? Because going deeper requires exposing your soft underbelly. To really connect, you have to show who you actually are. Your fears, your failures, your weird obsessions. And so you perform. You wear the mask. You stay just close enough to be polite but far enough away that nobody can actually hurt you. You leave the party feeling more drained and lonely than when you arrived. You were near the fire, but you didn't let it warm you. Consider the third scenario, the morning after vulnerability. Maybe you did it. Maybe you opened up. You had a deep conversation with your partner. You cried. You shared a secret. You felt incredible closeness. But the next morning, you wake up with a feeling of regret. You feel exposed. You feel cringe. Your brain starts screaming, "Danger!" You gave them ammunition. Pull back. So, for the next 3 days, you become distant. You become cold. You pick a fight over unwashed dishes just to create distance again. You need to reestablish the boundary because the closeness felt too dangerous. Why does your brain do this? Why is connection so terrifying? It is not because you're crazy, it is because you are evolved. For your ancestors, rejection was not just an emotional bruise, it was a death sentence. To be cast out of the tribe meant you would freeze or starve. To be vulnerable meant a predator could find your weak spot. Your nervous system is wired to detect emotional risk as physical pain. When someone ignores you, the same centers in your brain light up as if you had burned your hand on a stove. So you are caught in a trap. Your biology demands connection to survive, but your survival instinct demands you protect your soft spots. You are stuck between the freeze and the fire. In the winter of 1851, the German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer wrote down a little parable that perfectly captures this agony. I want you to close your eyes and picture this scene. Imagine a bleak, frozen forest. The ground is as hard as iron. The wind is howling through the bare branches of the trees. The snow is falling in thick, heavy sheets. In a small clearing, there is a group of porcupines, or as some translations say, hedgehogs. These little creatures are freezing. Their bodies are shivering violently. They know, instinctively, that if they remain apart, separated by the snow, they will die of the cold. So they begin to move together. They form a tight huddle, pressing their bodies against one another to share their body heat. For a moment, there is relief. The warmth spreads. The shivering stops. They are safe. But then a new problem arises. As they press closer, their sharp quills, their spikes, begin to dig into the tender skin of their neighbors. The closer they get, the more they stab one another. The intimacy becomes a source of pain. The pain becomes unbearable. Squealing and bleeding, they scatter. They run back out into the snow to escape the spikes. But out in the open, the freezing wind returns. The cold begins to stiffen their limbs. The threat of death returns. So they come back together. They seek warmth. Then they feel the spikes. Then they retreat. They are caught in a miserable cycle. Back and forth. Driven together by need. Driven apart by pain. Schopenhauer wrote that this is the life of the human being. We are just hedgehogs in the snow. Modern psychology calls this attachment theory. We usually fall into one of two camps. Some of us are anxious. We're so terrified of the cold, so terrified of abandonment, that we throw ourselves onto the spikes. We cling. We text too much. We tolerate pain and disrespect just to feel a little bit of warmth. We bleed to stay warm. Some of us are avoidant. We are so terrified of the spikes, so afraid of being hurt or engulfed, that we choose the freezing cold. We isolate ourselves. We say we don't need anyone. We numb ourselves with work or distractions. We freeze to stay safe. Most of the world tells you to hustle for love, to chase it down, or conversely, to be independent and need no one. But the unrushed perspective, the way of the wise hedgehog, is different. In Schopenhauer's story, the hedgehogs eventually discover a solution. They do not give up on warmth, nor do they accept the stabbing. They find a middle distance, a small space between them, close enough to feel the radiation of the other's warmth, but far enough that the quills do not prick. Schopenhauer called this politeness and manners, but in a deeper sense, it is the art of boundaries. It is a slow, patient work of finding the exact distance where you can love someone without losing yourself, where you can be vulnerable without being unsafe. So, how do we find this middle distance? If you try to fix your entire relationship style today, you will fail. That is too big. That is rushing. We are going to lay one brick. We are going to make one micro adjustment to your distance. Here's your task for today. First, you must identify, are you currently freezing or are you bleeding? If you are freezing, meaning you have isolated yourself, you haven't replied to messages, you are being avoidant, your action is the 1 inch forward. Identify one person you value but have kept at a distance. Send them one message, not a novel, not a confession, just a signal of warmth. Saw this and thought of you. Hope you're having a calm week. That's it. Do not worry about the reply. Your only job is to step 1 inch closer to the fire. Prove to your brain that warmth is safe. If you're bleeding, meaning you are over pursuing, you are anxious, you are texting double and triple times trying to get a reaction, your action is the 1 inch back. Take your phone, put it in another room for 1 hour. Sit in silence. Remind yourself that you are whole on your own. You do not need to impale yourself on someone else's spikes to survive. Create a tiny gap. In that gap, respect grows. Your brain will resist this. If you step forward, it will scream, danger. If you step back, it will scream, abandonment. Do it anyway. Observe the fear, like a cloud passing over a mountain, and let it pass. Life is a long winter. We cannot survive it alone, but we cannot survive if we tear each other apart. Finding the right distance isn't something you do once. It is a constant, gentle swaying. A little closer today, a little space tomorrow. Respect the quills, cherish the warmth, and take your time finding your place in the snow. Stay unrushed.